Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into a bit of a viral mystery. We're talking about a COVID-19 variant that, after nearly 3 years of total silence, just reappeared with a completely new genetic identity. It really is a story about a ghost in the machine of viral evolution. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Another one? Really? And I get it. But you're going to want to stick with me on this because this one, officially called BA3.2, has a story that is genuinely unique and honestly scientifically fascinating. And it's got this great nickname from researchers, Cicada. Over the next few minutes, we are going to see exactly why that name is so perfect and what it tells us about how this virus is still finding new ways to evolve. Okay, let's get into it. Here's the roadmap for today. First, we'll unpack that cicada nickname. Then, we're going to play detective and look into its bizarre origin as a ghost lineage. After that, we'll check out its unique genetic code, see what its actual impact has been in the real world, and finally, wrap up with what the experts think it all means. So, first up, why cicada? Well, the name perfectly captures just how strange its arrival was. You know how cicadas spend years and years underground and then suddenly emerge? That's exactly what this variant's family tree did. Its ancestor completely fell off the map, only for this new descendant, BA3.2, to pop up on the world stage. And here's a really key detail right from the start. The WHO has labeled it a variant under monitoring. Now, that's the lowest level on their alert system. So what it means is, because of its weird backstory, scientists are definitely keeping an eye on it, but it's not causing some huge global alarm. So where on earth did it come from? This is where the story gets really, really interesting. See, this wasn't your typical evolution from one variant to the next. Nope. This was the return of what scientists are calling a ghost lineage. And this timeline just illustrates it perfectly. Look at that. Its direct ancestor, BA3, pretty much vanished way back in early 2022. Then radio silence for almost 3 years until boom, its highly evolved descendant, BA3.2, pops up out of nowhere and a sample from South Africa. This huge gap is why some scientists even call it the undead variant. So how does a virus just disappear for years and then show up again so incredibly different? Well, the leading theory is this idea of cryptic evolution. The thinking is that the original BA3 lineage didn't actually die out. Instead, it probably found a hiding place inside a single person with a chronic infection, likely someone who is immunocompromised. And inside that one person, it had years to just mutate and evolve in private, totally off the grid, before it re-entered the general population. So what happens when a virus gets to evolve for nearly 3 years? You get a genetic profile that looks like nothing we've seen before. And this, right here, is where the story of cicada gets truly wild. When scientists sequenced this new variant, one number just jumped off the page. And if you remember one thing about cicada, it's this. It has between 70 and 75 mutations on its spike protein. Let me be clear, that is a massive, massive evolutionary leap. And just to put that number into perspective for you, think about the JN1 family of variants. You know, the ones our more recent vaccines were built to fight. They had around 30, maybe 40 mutations. Cicada has roughly double that amount. Genetically speaking, this thing is in a whole different league. Okay, so what do all those mutations lead to? They lead to this really crucial concept: immune escape. The simplest way to think about it is that the virus has changed the key. That's its spike protein, so much that the locks our immune system has, the antibodies from vaccines or from getting sick before, just don't fit as well anymore. Now, that doesn't automatically mean it makes you sicker, but it does mean it's gotten much better at sneaking past our body's first line of defense. So we've got this highly mutated variant that's an expert at evading immunity. The big question, the crucial question, is what does that actually mean for us, in the real world? Well, its spread has been pretty interesting to watch. This chart shows it all pretty clearly. While cicada definitely got a foothold in parts of Europe, it hit about 30% of cases in places like Germany and Denmark over the winter. It stayed at much lower levels here in the US, under 5% of cases. It's out there, but it is definitely not taking over. And what about how it feels to get it? Well, the picture is mostly familiar stuff: cough, fever, fatigue. But we are hearing more anecdotal reports of a really, really severe sore throat.
Some people have called it a razor blade throat, and also more night sweats. But look, the two most important things on this chart are that loss of taste and smell is still rare, and there is zero evidence of worse clinical outcomes. This quote from Dr. Robert Hopkins just captures the central problem perfectly. On the one hand, from a scientific standpoint, that huge number of mutations is really concerning. And lab studies do show it's very, very good at dodging the antibodies from our current vaccines. Which, of course, leads to the one question we all want an answer to. Does this make it more dangerous? And the answer, thankfully, is no. Despite its incredible ability to get past our initial immune defenses, both the CDC and the WHO have been very clear there is no evidence that Seneca causes more severe illness. Our existing immunity and vaccines are still expected to give us strong protection against the things we care about most, like ending up in the hospital. Okay, so let's pull all of these threads together. What's the final verdict from the experts who've been tracking this thing? So when you look at this, you see the puzzle, right? It's super mutated and great at hiding from immunity, but it doesn't make people sicker, and it hasn't taken over the world. So why? The answer is this fascinating biological trade-off. It turns out the very changes that help cicada hide from our antibodies also make it worse at actually grabbing onto our cells to infect them in the first place. Basically, it gains stealth, but it lost speed. And that trade-off is almost certainly why it's more of a scientific curiosity than a public health crisis. So, what does cicada tell us about the future? I think it's a powerful reminder that viral evolution is not always a straight line forward. Sometimes it goes underground. The fact that a ghost lineage could reappear like this just proves the virus can still pull a few surprises. And it really highlights why it's so critical that we keep watching, so we're ready for whatever unexpected thing emerges next. Thanks for joining me.